It's 3 o'clock, and our next committee meeting of the day is the Budget and Finance Committee. Those committee members are Lombardo, Amobian, Fusco, Boyes, and Bolden. We do have all committee members present whenever you're ready, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Clerk Viviano. I'd like to call everybody to the meeting of the Budget and Finance Committee meeting. Can I have an approval of last week's meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. This afternoon, we have 3 items coming before us, and the first is item number 1, ordinance authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into a contract or contracts after requesting and receiving requests for proposals, RFPs, for a case management and database system for the Akron Citizens Police Oversight Board and the Office of the Independent Auditor, and declaring an emergency. Mr. Fricker is here today.
So thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is the case management software that we talked about during the budget hearings that will allow them to enter all of the data that goes along with all of the cases that they are tracking. As we talked about at budget, we have charged this not to the Citizens Oversight Board budget, but to our finance budgets, since this is largely going to be a one-time expense. I know Mr. Fennell has reached out to our purchasing department, and they are working on creating the RFP right now. So.
I'm sorry, I know it was charged to another department. Whose department was it charged to?
It's charged to finance. So there's what we call a citywide other code, which really captures some of our contractual obligations. All of our the property taxes are charged there. So it's not really an operating division within finance, but it captures some of those contractual obligations and governmental obligations that we have throughout the year. So as I said, the property taxes are there, the fees that we are charged by the county for collecting the property tax, the indigent burial costs are there, all of the the dues and memberships for a lot of these city, like the U.S. Conference of Mayors and National League of Cities and things like that are charged there. So,
Sure. Obviously, no argument when the budgeted cost is $100,000 and the actuals coming in at 60.
I think that is the estimate that we were provided. So that's yes.
Okay. All right. Yes, we have a question from one of our committee members.
I know that one of the requests that came through from the Citizens Board was to hire a data analysis. And I'm sure this would help that person with the collection of the information, the cases they're reviewing.
That is my understanding. I don't know that they've actually put in the personnel requisition for that yet, but my understanding from the budget hearings is that person would be tasked with managing a lot of the data that goes into the system.
It talked about client engagement as well. Is that the piece?
I'm sorry, what was?
It, in the ordinance, it talked about client engagement. There's a piece in the ordinance that talked about that. And I was just wondering, would that have to do with the calls and other things that are happening with the public? Do you know?
Yes, I would assume that would track the people that submit items to the board. It would also track those items.
Okay, thank you.
One other question I had is that you probably can't answer this. This data analyst, and I know we talked about a figure of 45,000. Hopefully that person would, as far as this software goes, okay, let's just put it this way, that would this person be able to come in and at that amount of money and be able to do the work that they need to do with this, database system? Or is this database system too technical for a job of that standard? Like maybe the standard for someone is 80,000.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I don't know that I could
something
really. I don't know that I could speak to exactly what the nature of utilizing the software would be. I would assume that it would not be anything that would require like a programming background or anything like that. It would be, that's what the software would be designed to do, is to, in kind of a user-friendly way, hold that data, be able to extract the data from the system. But, I can't, we haven't even purchased the software yet, so I can't speak to exactly what those job duties would entail in terms of using the software.
Would your department be working with this, or would that be?
Our IT
solely-
department will certainly be willing to assist, if they need assistance in terms of the configuration of the software or, implementation or whatever might be needed.
Any questions from other committee members? Mr. Fusco?
Yeah, so whenever we had amended the operating budget, we had the wages and benefits was at 460, and then the other was 129, and then for the total of 589. Was that the other, that encompassed this?
So the software itself would not be in that number. It would be included within finance. It would, however, include the data analyst position that was included in the labor of the.
Okay, so that was for 129 for the labor analyst?
Well, there's more to it than that. So, I'm sorry, read that back again. So the 129 is the other portion, so.
Yeah, that's the.
That's not included, that would be included in the labor part, yeah. So in the 129, I don't believe we really amended that portion of it, it was just the labor piece.
Okay, because because it looked like an increase on this side. So just curious what that was, what that encompassed, but, okay.
Yes,
Cool.
I'm sorry.
Just
I'm
curious.
sorry, hold on.
I think, Mr. Fusco, I think they were asking for a full-time person, then they reduced it to a part-time, as opposed to, because I think a full-time person would have cost more. I mean, in the
I
field.
think all along they kind of envisioned it as a part-time person, or at least at the beginning. So at least in the discussions we had prior to submitting the budget, it was a part-time position. Yeah.
All right, any other questions from any other council members, either here or on Zoom? All right, and what would be your request?
Consent.
Consent agenda?
Consent agenda, that's fine.
Is there a motion for consent?
Yep, consent.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Consent agenda. It is.
Thank you.
Second piece, item number 2, ordinance authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into a contract or contracts with Matrix Consulting Group to conduct a staffing study for the Akron Police Department and declaring an emergency. Seems like it's a HR request, therefore we have none other than Trella Jackson.
Thank
us.
you. Yes, this is a joint project with the Akron Police Department and HR Department. And we issued a request for proposals for a staffing study, and we got back several proposals and reviewed those, and the selection that we are recommending is Matrix Consulting Group. And the staffing study, as you would expect, would entail a review of the deployment of staffing, where they're located, whether it's right-size staffing for the police department, but also, keeping in mind that there are community expectations. There is a community engagement component of the staffing study proposal, as well as an employee survey. And so our request is to authorize pursuing moving forward with that contract.
Okay. So, you said there would be did you want to say something, Deputy Chief? No? Okay.
Actually, probably has all the details, so.
You said that there would be a community engagement piece to this?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just thinking that the community would say, we're understaffed and we need more police officers. I'm just thinking that. That's my opinion, maybe. And, you know, I'm sure we need more firefighters. We need a lot for our safety forces. But it would come down to, do we have the money in the budget for that? So how do we get from, you know, like their answer to the actual implementation of their recommendation? Because I doubt, again, my opinion, I doubt they would say, we're overstaffed.
Well, if I may, the staffing study would also, and please add to this, would also look at whether the positions we have are rightly assigned to certain areas across the police station. So it's a comprehensive, it's not just whether you increase or decrease the staffing, but also whether they're deployed in the right areas. Is that how you would say it?
Yes, so the idea of the staffing study is to look at everything we're doing, to take into account what the community expectations are for service. How long do you expect to wait for a cruiser to come and take a report, for example? Do you want police officers to respond to barking dogs, or do you want that referred to someone else? Those are the kind of things that we get from that community engagement piece. What does the community expect of its police department? From there, they look at all of our CAD data, all the calls that we take. They also are going to go through our detective bureau, look at the positions there, what are the positions that are needed. They're going to review what we're doing against what best practice is in the industry, not only in Akron, Ohio, but in cities of similar size that are similarly situated. And then they come up with a report to make recommendations. Once we have that report, it's going to take about 6 months to do this project. But once they're completed, then that gives us something to work with. It gives the director something to work with in terms of total personnel, and then we work from that. Some of that might entail coming back here to council and ask for your support on certain things, and some of it might be coming to you and asking you for decisions, and then we can work from there. But this is going to guide us. This is really something that's going to guide us into 2026 and beyond. What should the police department look like? How many people do we need? Where should they be working? What types of work do we want them to do, and at what standard?
So what I'm hearing you say is, you know, look at cities our size, see what the right staffing level could be or should be, but also internally, we have, and I'm going to guess, 15 detectives, and the study says cities our size should only have 12 detectives. So it would be something like that, maybe moving, it could be something like that, moving people around, not necessarily, I think this was to your point, that we need more, we need less.
Right.
Exactly. This is a holistic approach. It's a big picture approach, and we're going to look at all of that. So when they bring back the report, they might have the recommendation. Our recommendation is that you have 12. Right now you have 15. It's up to us to decide, well, do we want to redeploy those other 3 people, or do we want to keep what we have? Because here in Akron, we feel like this is something we want to do. And so we have a lot of work to do after this report is done. This is the first step in looking at what we're doing.
I'm sorry, yeah, didn't want to hog everything, but
No,
Councilwoman Amobian?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the explanation, but it's kind of what I was thinking, was what you said, is it would look at, and I'm assuming, based on what you said, Chief, that, Deputy Chief, that this particular group has done other studies like this in other major cities. So it'll just look at how are we utilizing our resources of manpower and how we're deploying, as you said, Ms. Jackson, our staff. And then it'll probably look at the data in terms of where are we having the most incidents, what time of day, and those kinds of things. Do we have enough people going out in those areas? I will, yes, I'm truly not, educated in this, but when I read this, that's what I was assuming that it would do. So I think it would be, as you said, it'd be a great start to look at what they would suggest and then look at what we have and how we could utilize the information from this study. So I certainly support that. Thank you.
Councilman Bolden?
Thank you. A couple questions. Was this budgeted in is this in the budget? So this is not, I'm looking at it, it says it was, this legislation involved expenditure of funds. Yes, but it doesn't say whether it was budgeted or not, so it wasn't budgeted at all. Was this done in-house in the past?
It was done in-house in the past, dating back to 2017 with a formal report. It's just not something we have the capacity to do now.
Okay. As far as the community engagement, are we looking at a survey? Are we looking at meetings? What are we looking at? Do we have an idea what we're going to do?
So when we wrote up the proposal, we did indicate a certain number of hours, rather, so we have some options. It's not fixed, but we would, it's certainly, we have hours dedicated to community engagement.
But we don't know which way to go with that, whether it's going to be a survey that goes out or like meetings like we've had in the past or in other areas.
So at this point, no, we have not decided how that's going to look, but we
Okay.
do have that, we have some flexibility in what that should look like.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Tina Boyd?
Thank you. Just so I'm aware, is this the same Matrix Consulting Group out of California? Or are they local?
Yes, they're from San Mateo.
Got it, okay. And it says they've worked with over 400 police studies in 45 states, so that's pretty comprehensive.
Yeah, they've
Like-
worked with Cincinnati, Columbus, from Ohio, the Ohio
Gotcha.
area.
And I just want to echo or build upon Councilman Bolden's question. I know at my ward meetings, a lot of people's concerns are with, police department stuff. And, ward meetings, I'm just putting it out there, are a great place to collect information. So you're getting a balanced view from people across the city about what the police are doing or, what the needs are. So I would highly suggest that we look at a ward-specific type of approach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Fusco.
I'd like to just request, if you could, like the scope of services that the expectations are going to be, just to see.
You would like a copy of that?
Yes, please.
Sure, certainly. I'll get that to you.
Did you send it to all of us?
Absolutely. I'll just send it to Sarah, yes.
What would be the request at this time? Or is there a Councilman Donnie Kamer? I didn't see you, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the opportunity. Well, some of my questions already been answered, but I am curious about the community engagement piece. Moving forward, I do have reservations in regards to supporting this until we get that community engagement piece and what it looks like. $138,000 is a lot of money. Not saying it's worth it, but I know my colleague Tina Boyes mentioned it at the ward meetings. That's a great start. I mean, I hear it from my residents all the time. I would like us to, make sure we're out there being seen and in the community instead of just posting something on Facebook or things like that, because I don't think you get the good answers from social media. I think you get it from the residents that attend these community meetings. So, I appreciate the opportunity, but one of my concerns is I would want that community engagement piece and what it looks like moving forward. So thank you.
You want to go ahead?
Just to follow up, I certainly agree with my colleagues, but I hope that whatever the community engagement piece is, that we will talk to all groups, whether they are in attendance, at ward meetings, or whether they are pro or whatever. We just need to hear from all of our citizens as best we can. So thank you very much.
Deputy Chief McCosey, one of my questions I'm thinking of is, we have our police chief, and if you look at the hierarchy, there's 4 deputy police chiefs, and each of you are in charge of certain areas like patrol, detective bureau. Right? So there hasn't been any meetings like that, since our new police chief, Brian Harding, came on board. There hasn't been any meetings like that to, shift people around, or any meetings of the minds that way to, say, you know, let's try this approach? Or we really need this study to, I guess, drive home the point? Has there been anything like that from Chief Harding?
We have had conversations internally and specifically to the point of this study. This is something that really is sort of a combined effort between the mayor's administration and the director and our staff. One of the things that we need to be cautious about is very easy to look at it through our small lens and say, well, we need more people. We have these openings and we'd like to fill them. But what we're really driving toward is what is the best way to do this? We know we have limited resources. We know that there's a limit to how many people we can hire, to how many employees we can have. What is the best way to do this? And what are other cities that are similarly situated? Everybody has limitations. How are they doing it? How are they getting the work done? Where are they putting their people? And how are they using the data, meaning the number of calls, the number of reports, what the community expects? Some communities don't have the same expectations that we do here in Akron, Ohio. So how do we make all that work, put our people in the best place where we can provide the best service given the resources that we have? And frankly, to put 10 or 12 people on this project, which is what it would take us to do, it would be difficult, and we're police officers, we're not researchers. So we're the wrong people to be taking on this entire project all by ourselves. So this is an opportunity for us to get the experts in, take a look at what they come up with, and then evaluate that report. Sit down with members of council, with members of the community, with members of the mayor's staff, of course, and try to figure out what is the best way to go here.
Okay.
If I could
Montrell,
just add
sure.
to that too, we also, with them having dealt with 400 police departments, we get the trends from across the country, so we get that expertise and the details that we wouldn't have locally that would be brought through this study.
Okay. Yes, Councilwoman Mobian.
Just another question. Have you had an opportunity to talk with some of these other cities in Ohio who've utilized this group? And have we learned from their experience in terms of how it's impacted their work? And the other thing, I'd just like to make a statement that whenever, and I know we talk a lot about community engagement and trying to get, out there more with the community. One of the best products of this could be developing more alliances and relationships so that we have people working with us, which is what we ultimately want to do, to help our officers. Thank you.
Any other questions from anybody? I'm going to make a motion for time here. I don't know if it's your request, but is there an urgency for this, or?
So we are hoping to complete the project, at least get most of it started this year, so that would be the urgency, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think that the big thing is to get this completed so that we have time to consider it before we move into 2026. The timeframe that they gave us on the project is about 6 months, so we would like to get that going in time to be able to consider that and incorporate that into our budget process for 2026 and beyond.
Okay. Yeah. Is that all right?
I'm sorry.
1 week's time, okay?
Sure, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you doing the consent, Mr. Pascal?
I'll second time, just
Okay.
on
We
the
have a
fact
motion
that-
for time,
And second for time, especially since we can get the scope of the project, would be helpful.
and
So we can
Councilman
take a look
Bolden
at it,
seconded
too.
it. So all in favor of time? Aye. Any opposed? Very good. We're going to take time on this. Thank you so much for your time today. All right, and we have one more piece coming before us, and that is a resolution supporting, I'm sorry, get my bearings straight here. It's a resolution approving and confirming the appointment of Elizabeth England as a member of the Human Resources Commission and declaring an emergency. Okay, Montrella, you're going to speak on this again?
Yes, thank you.
Thank
So
you.
you should have all received a copy of Ms. England's resume. So we have had a vacancy on the Human Resources Commission. Her background, of course, she's a seasoned HR professional in the Akron area, based in the Akron area. She has extensive experience in HR functions. Her career spans over 2 decades. She's a certified human resources specialist. You can see from her background, she's worked at several rather large employers, and so we would be delighted to have Ms. England volunteering with us on the HRC, on the commission.
Can you explain a little bit about what the Human Resources Commission is all about?
Sure. So the Human Resources Commission reviews all disciplinary appeals that across the city. So if someone decides to challenge a disciplinary action, but also if there's a layoff or if there's a transfer or a reduction in pay, or so that board, it's a 3-member board or commission, sorry, and they review those appeals.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very good. Councilman Fusco?
Yes, thank you. Well, what's the timing on this one?
So we have a vacancy, so
Trying to get it, yeah.
yeah, we want to get it filled. The commission's been handling cases with only 2 members.
Yeah. When's their next meeting?
Well, we actually have a couple of hearings scheduled. There's one scheduled this week, and there's another scheduled on May 9th.
On May 9th? Okay.
Yes.
Do we have I don't see a copy of the resume.
It did not come over with legislation.
Oh, I'm
None of
very
us-
sorry.
there's nothing
Okay,
here.
yeah, yes. We can get you copies of the resume.
Yeah, if you could. And I would just ask for temporary time until we get to see
Sure.
something to look at.
That's fine.
Yeah, temporary time, please.
Councilwoman Mobian had a comment first.
Yeah, I can only tell you that I know Mrs. England, excellent person, just has done this work for a number of years, lived in Akron for practically all her life, I guess, and could be an excellent resource for anybody regarding Medicare and all those kinds of things that she's doing now. So, but I know her to be an excellent person, an excellent candidate for this position. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from committee members or other council members? Okay, we have a motion on the floor for time
Second.
and a second. All in favor of time? Aye. Any opposed? Very good. Motion for time carries. And with that, no other business coming before us. This meeting is adjourned.
That is the final committee meeting of the day. Council will meet in regular session at 6:30. Thank you.